think I have his number.
Morning. Good morning, everybody. We're live. We think Papa Carnivore will be here today. We're not sure. Well, good morning, Dr. Nelson. I think since it's just us, maybe we'll do a very fantastic Q&A this morning. This is your time to ask your questions of Dr. Nelson that you have not been able to get answered. What do you think?
We'll do that.
We'll do that. We'll say hi to everybody.
Give me a second. I'm gonna try to.
We're gonna try to contact our guest. Good morning. I'm gonna just say hi to everybody that's here. Yeah. Good morning, Thomas. Oh, it's my show now. Hello. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Brian. Let's see who else is here. Dr. Kiltz is not here. I put this in there. Please sign up for the Boston meetup. It's coming up sooner than we know it, June 28th. Actually, 2 months from now, precisely. Let's see. Good morning, Paul. I'm so happy to hear that your Tasty has arrived. How is it working out for you? That's excellent. Also, Lewis has his Tasty also. He texted me. So Dr. Nelson will be back in a second. I think we're trying to track down Papa Carnivore. Oops. Let's see. Good morning, Eve. From, how do you say that? Falmouth, UK. Thank you. We're glad you're here with us also. Good morning, Andrea. Can't wait for Papa Carnivore. Us too. Kate Sprague, good morning. Andy C77. Oh, good morning. Mom P, good morning. Oh, I will ask this question. I will answer this question. I'll have Dr. Nelson answer this question when he gets back. But I have heard not to drink after your meal. That's what I've heard. We try to get my kids to drink after their meal because they will just fill up on water. So let's see who else is here. Good morning, Cordelia. Dr. Nelson is back. What's up?
Hello. Left a voicemail. That's strange because he's
always here.
Usually here every morning.
I hope everything's okay. Here's a question from Eve. What about drinking liquids with meals? What about that?
If you can avoid drinking liquids with meals, probably best. Some people have the custom of just drinking fluids with their meals, but I think makes it easier to swallow. Some people have actually difficulty swallowing. If you do, that's something you gotta have checked. But you should be able to chew your food thoroughly and swallow without having to drink fluids. If you drink fluids, you're diluting your acids, stomach acids, which then you're interfering with digestion. So some people have problems with reflux. Drinking fluids before and after the meals does that, diluting the fluids, but then you might have more reflux as well. So if you can,
avoid it.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
Morning allergies.
Oh, yeah. I love those. Let's see. Andrea is very excited about the Boston meetup. Me too. Absolutely. I'm buying my tickets today. My plane tickets, I mean. And you want to get your tickets. They're selling out fast.
Now, that's June 28th.
June 28th. Yeah. So before then, we have coming up a Toronto meetup in May 10th. Then there's Meet Stock 15 through 19 in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. That's by Scott Everson. And then there is a Healing Humanity meetup in Seattle. But I'm specifically interested in Boston. I'm interested in all those, but I'm interested in Boston. Let's see. What other questions we have? Fed and Green. Does your stomach shrink? I can't eat as much as I used to before commencing the carnivore way of eating.
I don't know if it's shrinking, many people in carnivore experience a decrease in hunger, and so you get full faster. I don't think it's shrinking of the stomach. Um, so if you think you're not eating enough, maybe make sure you eat more than once a day, maybe twice a day. Most people can handle eating everything they need in 2 times a day. But if you have to eat 3 times a day, eat 3 times a day. Uh,
There you go. Oh, here's Papa. Sharon, good morning.
Hello.
did I
Hello.
wake you? Good morning.
Hello.
There you go.
So,
We should answer Sharon's question, and then we'll talk to Papa Carnivore. Sharon says, Dr. Nelson, do you have any ideas about osteoporosis?
so osteoporosis. First of all, my first question to people when patients usually, uh, I'm talking about osteoporosis, I tell them, what are bones made of? And everybody immediately, almost everybody, some people get it correctly, but it's a trick question because I know what they're going to say. Oh, it's calcium. Well, it's not calcium. Bones are not made of calcium. The bone matrix is made of protein. So guess what you need to eat? Protein. Is calcium important? Yes. Among many other minerals, calcium is probably the most abundant in bones, and that is correct. It's the most important mineral. Not It's like building a wall, and you need to put blocks, right? And then you put the mortar in between, and so the calcium is part of the mortar, but the blocks are protein. So you need to eat protein. You need to do resistance exercises, work the best. Uh, Legs, arms, that puts pressure and stress on the muscles and bones and makes them get stronger. Vitamin D is important, making sure your minerals and protein are being taken care of, but the exercise is very important, and vitamin D, among other things, should be hopefully north of 50 if you check it. Some labs will say down to 20 is okay. I don't think so. I think you need to be between 50 and 100. If you want to narrow down, 60 to 90 probably is the optimum.
Great.
So, good morning, Papa. How are you doing?
Hey, pretty good. I've got that vitamin D going.
Okay. It's funny. We live in Florida, and I was deficient in vitamin D.
Yeah, I was too. And I walk, in the sun, 4 or 5 miles every morning, and I still was deficient.
That's crazy. I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
Mine was above 50. It was like 56. I live up in the mountains and I'm close to the equator, but I don't walk that much because I'm up in the mountains and there's no sidewalk. And my vitamin D level is, I guess, normal. Do you think it has to do with being closer to the sun, Dr. Nelson? Or more sun?
It could be.
Closer to the sun. I think I'm 5,000 feet above sea level where I live.
Wow.
Well, yeah, 8,000 kicks my butt in Bogota. Last time was okay, but usually that's butt kicking is 8,000.
So you're closer to the sun in two ways, because you're near the equator,
right?
And then you're also elevation on a mountain.
Basically, that's like Denver, Colorado is 5,000 feet.
Really? Maybe but I thought Denver was same as Bogota. Bogota is 8,000. You know what? I think I have 3,500 feet. I'm going to find out right now, but I'm pretty high up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. I was asking people what they would like to eat. What's their favorite thing to eat? heart attack chicken. I was just.
That's Rick.
That's Rick. Yeah. Oh, Andy says that his D level was 66 after winter, so he was happy with that.
That's pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, that's so strange. There's so much sun in Florida.
Yeah.
Weird. There we go.
So I take Dr. Nelson. I take a 10,000 IU.
Okay.
And I mean, it keeps me in the range, the proper range. I think I want to say 60 to 80, somewhere in there. Now.
There you go. Leon says that his range, mine is in range. I don't take any vitamin D supplements.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have to, you don't have to. It just some people for some reason. Now, even though I live in Florida, of course, most of the time I'm inside a building, inside an office. My work doesn't require me to go outside while I'm working. So
right. Let's see. Eve. Oh, I just confirmed. I live 4,993 feet above sea level. Okay. Papa Carnivore, how often do you, I guess, take vitamin C?
Don't take it. Don't need it.
Oh, vitamin D.
The C is for carnivore.
Oh, okay. Yeah, vitamin. I like I said, I take one 10,000 IU of vitamin D3/K2 once a day, and it keeps me. I'm right in range between 60 and 80. So that's
nice.
I just check it, and if it goes too high, I guess I would not need it.
There you go. All right, guys. What other questions y'all have here in the chat for the lovely guests and panel this morning?
Listen, Papa, we, I know your story. I've heard it a few times. I know Elliot knows it, and I know you're frequently in our chats. But give us the elevator pitch version of your story.
Well, so I'm Papa Carnivore. My name's Peter. I live in South Florida, in Boca Raton, Florida. A little over two years ago, I was over 300 pounds with a BMI of 40. I was morbidly obese. I had just been diagnosed by my doctor with full-blown diabetes. They wanted to put me on medicine. I was high blood pressure. I was on 3 blood pressure medicines, acid reflux, IBS. I had arthritis, chronic arthritis in both knees, so bad I could barely walk. It was in my back, my knees, my right shoulder. I had bipolar depression, anxiety, ADHD that I'd suffered with for really decades. I had a pill box that would rival Carrie Mann's pill box, if any of you have seen that, for the different stuff I've taken, different psych meds. I could go on and on. Migraines, there was a ton of stuff. Acid reflux, I don't know if I mentioned that. But in any case, I ended up finding Dr. Berry, a video of Dr. Berry's, because I didn't know what to do. I told my doctor, give me 6 months. I'm going to try and figure out before you start, give me all these medicines for diabetes. I'm going to figure this out with diet and exercise. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I typed into YouTube, reverse diabetes. And I found that very famous video, the same one Carrie found, actually. The video is called Reverse Diabetes. And it was Dr. Berry talking about the proper human diet, which really at that time was keto. And so I couldn't believe it, saying that you could reverse your diabetes by eating a proper human diet.
What's your hemoglobin A1C?
It was about 8.5. Yeah.
And did your doctor tell you could reverse diabetes?
No, he wanted to put me on medicine. He didn't say anything. He just, we need to start you on medicine, and I think they wanted to put me on metformin, and I think also I'm not sure, insulin, but I didn't even go that far. I just said, whoa, before I do that, I want to figure this out by myself with diet and exercise, if I can reverse this on my own, you know? And I found that video, and I started watching all the comments. You know, started reading the comments. I went down the rabbit hole on that video. All these people were saying, oh, I've reversed my diabetes. You know, this is amazing. It's changed my life. So I started keto. And you know, after about, I don't know, a week or two, and I kept binge watching Dr. Berry. He started talking about carnivore, you know, and I was like, ooh, well, I kind of don't like vegetables, you know, so I just cut out the vegetables and just went carnivore. And within 3 weeks, my arthritis in my knees, my back was gone. 3 weeks. My acid reflux went away completely. And just very, very quickly, within a few months, I had reversed most of my high blood pressure. I was off 2 of my 3 high blood pressure medicines. I just felt amazing. My brain fog went away. I started, you know, my depression, anxiety started lifting. And, you know, here I am today. I'm off all medicine. I have everything's in remission or completely reversed. Every single I think with Carrie, I was interviewed by Carrie. I think I at that time had 25 different things on a list that I went through, that I had all different things, including my hair's better, my nails better, my skin's better, I'm sleeping better, just on and on and on. It's really amazing. It's a life-changing experience.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
I hit.
Oh, and I lost 101 pounds. I forgot to mention that. And so I went from 300 pounds to now 199 pounds. I went from kind of like you, doctor. I went from a size 44 pants to now 34 pants. I haven't worn a size 34 pants since I was 19, and I'm going to be 63 in June.
We had more or less very similar weight loss, and I think my biggest I think I hit 320, 325.
Yeah.
But I'm only 5'6". You know, you've been next to me. You're pretty tall.
Yeah.
And so I hit my BMI hit 50 once.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, I was about 50, and my biggest pants were 56, I think.
Wow.
So my
what
BMI
are you at now for pants?
It's still over 30. I'm down to about 32, 33 BMI though.
What about pant size?
56.
And what are you now?
38.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
I
amazing.
still have some ways to go, but much better now. And you know, many of the things you reversed, I have also.
But you know what was funny? I kept going down in pant size, and I had to keep buying new pants like every, you know, like month or two. I was buying. It was crazy. I went through 6 pant sizes within like a year or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like the incredible shrinking man, I called myself.
I wanted to address a previous question on scurvy and vitamin C.
Oh yeah, it wasn't a question. It was just yeah. Let me find it again. It's about a dietitian. Here we go. FX Trader says, I just saw an interview about carnivore diet, and the nutritionist claimed that people can get scurvy on the carnivore diet.
And she's basing that on absolutely no experience,
right,
of seeing that. She's basing that on the book. This is what she learned and heard. This is not reality, because the carnivore diet has become very popular in the past couple of years. Even, you know, Dr. Baker coined the phrase basically 7-8 years ago when the book came out, because before that nobody called it the carnivore diet. And so the popularity has increased, and after not thousands but probably millions of people trying the carnivore diet, Do we see an epidemic of scurvy? No. So the reality is this: there is some vitamin C in meat. It's not huge amounts, but there is some. And if you want to make sure, maybe use some liver. And listen, if you have any doubts, nobody's going to fault you for taking some vitamin C. But the thing is, you need much smaller amounts because vitamin C and glucose compete with to enter and cross membranes and enter the cell because they use the same receptor. Okay, so when you don't have all this glucose and carbohydrates competing for entrance, then the little vitamin C that you have is enough. Is it possible to, that especially older people, they always complain of bruising? The first thing I tell them is just take some vitamin C and see if that helps. Because it does, as you become older, you have more capillary fragility. Sometimes you're low in vitamin C, and it's easier to just take a little bit of vitamin C than being testing everybody for that. So, but the advice cannot be based on experience, because we would have an explosion of people with bleeding problems all over the internet, and you don't find that.
In fact, my gums stopped bleeding on carnivore.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah.
I'm curious,
usually gum health improves.
Exactly. I'm curious if the people that got scurvy back in the day on the boats and on the ships out at sea was because they did not have any actual meat and they had grains and rotten food and rats to eat on the boats.
And the only meat they had was dried meats. They were preserved and something in, just
very interesting. Not the same scenario. Brisket boomers would like to know, how do you figure BMI?
There's a formula. You actually can look it up. You can Google it. It's your height, weight.
You can. You don't need the formula, but there is a formula. It's basically height and weight. This is a calculation of your height and your weight. You can try to look at the formula, but there's, just Google BMI table. You're gonna find like a million hits of BMI tables, and they're all the same. Sure. Because it's not. Some people, but BMI is wrong. Well, BMI just tells you your relation of your height and your weight, and that is sure. A constant. It's a fact. How we use it and interpret it, then that's where the controversies arise.
Yeah, because Sean Baker posted that his BMI says that he's obese. He's got, there you go. It's not true. But yeah, it's how you interpret it. Rhonda Britt has a question for Papa Carnivore. Papa, do you intermittent fast on average fat to protein?
Yes, I intermittent fast every day. I don't do a lot of extended fasts. I've done a few, but nothing longer than 2 or 3 days. But mainly I just intermittent fast. Normally it's 18/6 or 19/5. So, I typically eat 2 meals a day, sometimes 1 meal a day, but I'd say I probably average 2 meals a day. There are some days I do 3 meals a day because I'm hungry, but I would say my average is 2 meals a day with intermittent fasting. And I've lost like I said, over 100. I lost that 100 pounds in just over a year. I've been a carnivore it'll be 27 months on the 1st.
Oh, wow.
Fat, I keep my fat pretty high. I do high fat carnivore. As Dr. Kilt says, carnivore should be called fativore, right? So I do, I'm kind of prone to hard stools, to constipation. So I need to keep my fat high. Otherwise I do have problems that way. And I would say I'm 70 to 75% fat is what I average. You know, I add butter to my meat all the time. I um I do have 1 cup of coffee in the morning, and I add lots of butter, some bacon grease, and a little bit of heavy cream, and I whip that up. It's delicious, but it also, I think the high fat helps with my keep the depression and anxiety and ADHD at bay. I really do. I believe that's what's keeping my mind clear. I really do. It's almost like my medicine, the fat.
I love
So
that.
if you do have any mental things like depression, anxiety, as I said, I had bipolar depression, which, you know, they said I'm going to have for life. I mean, I was on antipsychotics. I mean,
Wow.
really heavy stuff. Seroquel, you know, Dr. Nelson. Seroquel. I was on lamotrigine. I was on all different things. Um, and then, of course, I took stuff for my ADHD and
So,
anxiety
which
medicine.
which one has been the best mood stabilizer?
I would say, I guess it was it was T-bones.
That's his
That,
answer. That's
that's
what
what I
he was
was
looking
looking
for.
for.
T-bones with lots of cold butter
Oh
pieces
man.
on the side, you know, and I eat essentially a little piece of cold butter with every bite of steak, and I don't joke around. I do. I love it.
So
Um,
Thomas
if you
posted.
haven't done so, hit the like button. Pop Carnivore needs to buy more pastel shirts. What? That must
He's
be
talking
a
about
joke.
the polo shirts. I like my girlfriend when
Oh,
I started about a year ago. My girlfriend, I bet it's a little over a year now. She said she likes me to wear polo shirts. So I have this whole collection of polo shirts, and some of them are pink or, you know, yellow. Like, I think when I met Dr. Nelson remember when I met you at Mitch's
In Melbourne.
back in the meetup in Melbourne, I was wearing a bright yellow polo shirt.
aw,
Yeah.
fun. Must look
Oh,
good.
and Thomas, speaking of that, Thomas has had a little bout of stress, and he also had his legs swell up, and he may not be able to work, you know, at his convenience store job because he has to stand up for 8 hours. And what I told Thomas, and I hope you're listening, Thomas, you've got to keep your fat high for stress,
Mhm.
you know, for that anxiety. And if you keep that fat really, really high, as long as, even if it causes a little bit of loose stools in the beginning, you know, that's okay, you
Yeah.
know, because that stress, there's nothing worse than if anyone's had like those anxiety, when he's talking about stress, he's talking about like anxiety attacks, you know, that stress, that
Mm,
feeling of, I don't know if
yeah.
any of you have ever had high anxiety. You know, you almost feel like your heart is beating really fast, you're even sweating, you're like, you feel like panic, I guess is the word. The high fat completely and utterly made that disappear in my life. And as you all know, there's that carnivore calm.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I just feel this incredible calmness, you know, or carnivore peace, some people call it.
Yeah. Or
It's
Zen.
this, it's the craziest thing. It's like, but, and I also believe that some of that inflammation in Thomas's leg also could have just been inflammation, just temporary inflammation, and just increasing that fat, I think, can help that. I really do.
Awesome. Thank you. Before we get onto this, Dr. Nelson, I would like to talk about these antipsychotics and these psych medications again, because you're well versed with pharmaceutical drugs. What are some of the side effects that occur on these drugs that you're taking them versus the side effects of just eating a high fatty carnivore diet to help your mental health?
The most prominent and significant side effects of the antipsychotics, whether the older, you know, going back to Thorazine and Haldol, or the more modern ones like Peter mentioned Seroquel, for example. The biggest problem with all of them is almost universal weight gain,
Yeah.
almost universal. It messes up with your blood sugars, where a big percentage become diabetic that maybe would have never been diabetic, but because of the medication. Are they useful? Yeah. I mean, don't sell them short is the only thing we had. Uh, and some people, when they have serious problems, they need the medicine. So I'm not going to tell anyone not to take it, but metabolic psychiatry in the past few years, we've learned through a few books. There are several books out there, but the most famous ones that in our world, Dr. Georgia Eats, Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind, and Dr. Chris Palmer, Brain Energy. Wonderful information. If you like to read or listen on Audible, they are both available on Audible. Uh, Listen to them or read them. They are great. And there are multiple studies that have already been done, and newer things are coming out. Diet is a very powerful medication, if you would, not only for the diabetes and the other things that we've known a little bit more throughout the years, but for mental illnesses, from anxiety, depression, to bipolar illness, to schizophrenia. There are some patients, schizophrenic patients, that have completely reversed the disease, put it in remission, however you want to say it. I'm not going to claim that they were cured, but they have been able to decrease medications and go off medication, having had a diagnosis of schizophrenia, which is pretty serious, right?
Very serious.
So, in general, most antipsychotic, anti-seizure medications are very often used for anxiety, bipolar, and all that. And there's one of the anti-seizure medications that happens to be helpful with weight loss, but most of those medications just make you gain weight, develop diabetes, and multiple side effects. Tardive dyskinesia, which is a movement disorder that usually once you get it, you cannot, even if you go off medications, you cannot eliminate it completely. So it might not work on everyone. There are clinics, there are inpatient facilities. One opened in Philadelphia, the first one I think a year or two ago, where you go in, they put you on a strict ketogenic diet, and a lot of people getting improvements in their mental conditions to the point that they can decrease at least medications, and many of them eliminate medications because they all have, to different degrees, all have serious side effects.
Yeah, for me, it was weight gain, and I think it contributed to the diabetes because I was maybe pre-diabetic or a little bit high, but it pushed me over the edge. I think it helped contribute to it.
Dr. Kilt's in the chat.
Yeah, Dr. Kilt is in the chat. So we got to say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are.
Yeah, wherever you are. Hi there.
We're holding the fort for you. The show must go on. Thank you for stopping in and chatting.
Well, if he's still in Australia, it's already afternoon, almost night over there.
Oh, wow. Okay. There you go. They had a great event this weekend. Let's see. We got some more questions here. Oh,
the one that I had highlighted there before.
Oh, shoot. I'm
before
sorry.
we get that one.
Okay.
This is absolutely correct. BMI, like I said, is not that the BMI is wrong. BMI is just a calculation of height and weight, period. It doesn't take into account anything else. And every time I see someone who, people who do bodybuilding, just look at them. You can tell that they're trying to build up muscles, right? Everyone classifies if we go by the BMI classifications, class 1, 2, and 3 obesity, yeah, they're going to be based on the BMI, it's going to be classified as obesity. So you don't take that into account. Basically, if you want to be more accurate, then you need to go on percentage and lean mass percentage and all those things. Very easy to do nowadays. You can find all those scales, the starting price in the $20. I think I paid $22 for mine a couple of years ago, and they're fairly accurate. They're fairly accurate. If you want to have a more accurate test, do a DEXA body composition scan, but with the smart scales, it's pretty close, because I had a BMI, I had a DEXA scan last June, and it was almost number by number, almost the same as what I was getting at home on my scale.
Yeah, I have a smart scale too, and it's incredibly accurate. And mine was, I don't know, $30 I got on Amazon, and it's incredibly accurate. Yeah. And I think I went from a BMI of about 40 to 23 or 24, something like that now.
Anyways, what was the other question you had?
We got some questions here, but I wanted to read this. Bean and Green, 6 months on carnivore diet. I've given 5 medications, feeling great. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
How many medications were you taking?
About 10. I was on omeprazole for acid reflux, all the different psych meds. So many. And I'm the only. I'm hypothyroid, but I've had that since I was in my 20s. Very mild hypothyroid. So I do take levothyroxine. That's the only medicine I still take. And I don't know, Dr. Nelson, do you think that's something I should continue taking? I did try and stop it, and I started feeling a little, the symptoms of hypothyroid.
Yeah.
My weight went up very quickly. I started feeling a little dizzy, and I was like, wait a minute, I better just stay on this. So
I would base that basically on your labs, number one.
Yeah.
And just the fact that you went off of it and immediately had symptoms. Hypothyroidism in particular seems to get better with carnivore. Many people do have that experience, but in most of them, there is improvement, but they're not able to quite get off of it completely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a small dose. There are some possible side effects with chronic use of levothyroxine, but the benefits outweigh the risk. That's basically, for example, people with hypothyroidism need to be cognizant of the risk of osteoporosis, for example, which we talked a little bit before. So you need to make an effort to eat right and exercise right and have your vitamin D normal and all those things to counter that.
That's the only medicine I take now. It's amazing. All the rest of them are gone. And now I'm saving hundreds of dollars a month in medicine and doctor visits, because I had a psychiatrist, I had my normal doctor, I had a gastroenterologist for my IBS. I had terrible IBS. That's all completely gone. But you know what I use those hundreds of dollars a month for now? T-bone.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yep. Meat and eggs and butter. Lots of butter.
Nice. We've got, here we go. Dr. Kilton's answering the question. His favorite food is steak. Yay.
Yeah. Mine too. And seafood. I love seafood. I love lobster, any kind of seafood. I love.
Me too. Sometimes it doesn't love me. Seafood sometimes
it is a big
doesn't
savings
love me.
not to be in on all those medications and not only a saving. The more medications you need to take, then the more interactions that are possible and more risks that you have.
Mhm.
I'm off of about 10 prescription medications probably.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. What ends up happening is you start having this side effect from this one and this side effect from another one, which causes this side problem, this indication. If you get off all of them, you just feel so much better, you know?
Exactly. Let's see. We got some more questions. Let's
So
see
it's
here.
hashtag Papa, right?
Oh no, it's hashtag kilts actually, because it was Kilt Mosquitoes Carnivore book for today.
Okay.
Well, maybe Papa will be on Wednesday. We'll see. Oh, somebody's got to run the giveaways. Let's see. Let's see.
I had it pulled up already this morning.
Shoot,
just in case.
I keep taking them down. What was the question? Here, we'll work on this one. Papa, did you have any detox symptoms along the way?
You know, I really didn't. I didn't. I was lucky. I kind of started keto, and I really was never a big vegetable eater anyway. So I think going in slowly over a few weeks of like more of the keto, I may have had a little bit of keto flu, maybe a little, but nothing compared to all the problems I was having with all of the psychiatric issues and the IBS that I was suffering from that went away very quickly. I never had like the diarrhea that a lot of people have, because as I say, my issue was more, I had some constipation early on that I very quickly learned was because I wasn't eating enough fat. And so, Dr. Chafee he addressed this by saying, hey, if you're having hard stools, eat more fat. If you're having softer stools, cut back on the fat, And so I just did that, and that solved that very quickly. Also, I learned that hard cheese and I are not friends. It causes massive constipation. I become a bricklayer if I eat hard cheese. So I don't want to be a bricklaying chicken. So I stopped the hard cheese. I can eat softer cheese, but the problem is once I start eating cheese, I almost can't stop eating the cheese. I love cheese so much, and it caused a weight stall, having cheese. And I was doing some whole milk yogurt, which I love all that stuff, but it caused weight stalls. I found that I couldn't lose weight when I was having all that cheese and yogurt. So the only cheese I typically have now is, do you know that Laughing Cow cheese? You ever see that in the wedges?
Oh, that's so delicious.
I'll have one or two of those wedges maybe once or twice a week, like with lunch, like with my meat at lunch, and hard-boiled eggs and some meat like at lunch. I'll bring hard-boiled eggs and some usually like deli meat or some leftover meat with me to work, that's my lunch. And I'll bring one or two wedges of Laughing Cow wedge, the cheese. It's kind of a softer cheese. And the other cheese that I do love is brie. I love brie cheese. But again, I don't have it a lot, maybe once or twice a week. It's kind of after dinner, kind of like a snack, but that's it.
Constipation is a common side effect of people who like to eat cheese, and they know who they are, right?
Yeah.
It's usually the same people will get constipated if you take calcium supplements.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Well,
mm-hmm.
So I mean, certainly being off cheese if you have problems with it.
Now, I will tell you, Rick makes his own homemade yogurt. Rick, the Charger Mopar, he does like his yogurt. He has that. So he obviously is super skinny. So for him,
and if he can tolerate it,
yeah.
It is a carnivore food, right? It comes from animals. But do you need to have milk, dairy, cheese in your diet? If you find that you don't tolerate it, then probably stay away from it or minimize it.
Exactly. If you notice, I keep hopping off the screen because I have to blow my nose because I ate cheese over the weekend.
Well, you know what? There was somebody yesterday that was saying that they've got this terrible runny nose thing going on. But but they mentioned that they started having some dairy, and I asked them that, and there it was like so obvious, but they didn't get it. I said, well, when did this start? Did you just have? Oh, you know what it was? It was on Dr. Lisa Weedman's Carb Sober Sunday yesterday, and as it turned out, that's what it was. So I said, just stop whatever you just started. Stop that. I mean, simple fix. Sometimes, you introduce something and it causes something. Well, listen to your body.
Yeah. It's like the old joke. The patient goes to the doctor. Doctor, it hurts when I do this. Well, stop doing that.
Exactly.
By the way, we do have Dr. Lisa Weedman here. Is it this week or next week?
I think it's Friday. So let me just go.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it's Friday. So tomorrow we have David Reed. He has an incredible story. He's lost hundreds of pounds. He was bedridden for years, also like on many psychiatric medications, and he's going to explain his story tomorrow. But totally changed with the carnivore diet.
What's David's screen name?
He doesn't. I think he goes by Fuzzy D.
Oh, Fuzzy D. Okay, yeah. I don't recognize that one.
It's Fuzzy D. I don't know what his channel is, but that's what his email says. And then on the 30th, we have a huge Q&A, a huge panel. Nia, Peter, Lewis, Amy.
Is that Wednesday?
That's Wednesday morning. Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Did I say Thursday? Sorry, but Wednesday. Thursday is Dave Mack, and then Friday is Dr. Weedman.
Yep.
Good lineup this week.
Wow, that's an amazing lineup. Wow.
Yeah, an all-star lineup.
We've been having pretty good lineups, and most of that work is because of Alia's work.
Yes, Alia.
Oh, thank you.
And Alia is going to be on vacation,
Alia,
everybody.
like I call her.
Alia. I don't even know how to pronounce my name anymore, so just whatever you want.
Alia. How do you pronounce it?
Alia.
Yeah, that's what I say. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. And so Dr. Kiltz, like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you. I love having Dr. Kiltz in the chat. This is
He's
funny.
of in the background there. You don't know where he is. Somewhere around the world.
Oh, fun. He's
Dr. Kiltz, can you pop in, Dr. Kiltz?
He could if he wanted to.
Tell Carnivore Ray I said hi. I love Carnivore Ray.
We love Carnivore Ray. We just interviewed him a couple weeks ago. His podcast will be up in July.
Yeah, that's great. I saw a photo. Who was it? Dave Mack he said having lunch with Carnivore Ray.
Aw.
Yeah, that was nice.
We got some more questions. So we got a few minutes left here. So
sure.
Did we answer this one? Yeah, we answered this one already.
By the way, I never had the keto flu.
Oh, there you go. Was that a question that I popped over? Ignored.
Okay, so this one says, did I have a doctor to get off the med? Yes, I did have a doctor. I also had a psychiatrist. Now, my psychiatrist did work with me to wean off the psychiatric drugs, but the one that he refused to get me off of, he refused that I stop taking, is the Synthroid, or not Synthroid, the what was the other, Seroquel, the antipsychotic. He insisted that if I went off that, I would risk, disaster, whatever, because most bipolars, you can't go off the antipsychotics. In his world, we went around and around, and he whatever, he was just, so what ended up happening is I weaned off everything except for that, and in the background I was secretly weaning off the medicine myself, little by little, without telling him, until we got to the last visit, and I asked to, I would like to, stop taking this. I said to him, can we at least, bring it down by half or whatever? And when he said, no, I really don't want to do that, that was my last visit. But by then I had already weaned myself completely off of it, and I secretly hadn't told him. And I was
Not
feeling
not not
fine.
doctor recommended, by the way.
No, I'm just saying what I did, and then by then I had already been off of it for several months and felt perfectly fine, you know. And that was my last psychiatrist visit.
Now,
Yeah.
the fact behind the advice of the psychiatrists here,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this time and time again, though,
Mm-hmm.
on people who have or understand bipolar illness, especially when they are on a little high, they feel so good
Yeah.
that they go off medication. It's a
Right.
common story, very common.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you haven't substituted, in your case, you substituted it with something that your psychiatrist, I'm sure, was not familiar with. Okay.
Right.
So you went carnivore and you had this experience. Great. I'm happy for you because those medications cause a lot of problems. We talked about some of them already. So, but the common story with bipolar illnesses is when you're on a little high, and especially if you become what they call hypomanic, where you're not on a full-blown manic episode, but you're feeling so good, better than usual, and it's often the moment that people go off medication and then they have a crisis. So
Yeah.
the psychiatrists experience this time and time again. The
Do you
advice
know?
can be very resistant to eliminate all the medications.
So do you know Emily Penton?
No.
Oh, okay. So Emily Penton, Pentin. I forget the name of her channel, but she was also bipolar, whatever, and she did this exactly what you. Now she did carnivore and all that, but she went off of her diet slightly on the way she was eating. I guess she went off it a little bit, and she went into full blown mania, and she ended up becoming hospitalized. But she had gone off of her carnivore, and thought, oh, I'm doing great. I can, whatever. And, she went like
So you have to be
hospitalized.
careful, and you have to always work with your provider.
Yes.
Obviously, there are medications that maybe you can go off of them on your own, like omeprazole. I don't think, if you don't need it, you don't need to use it, right? But there are other medications you need to be careful. You need to work with your provider, especially medications for mental health.
Yeah. And
And
as I
for all
said, I
kinds of
did
things.
work.
I mean, even if hypertension, even for diabetes, work, most doctors will negotiate with you and establish a plan to go off medication. You just have to prove to them that you're not needing as much.
And as I said, he helped me get off of many of the psych meds. It was just, and we actually did reduce the Seroquel down a lot. I mean, from like 200 milligrams down to maybe it was 50. But once it got to a certain level, maybe it was 50 milligrams from 200. He said, that's it. I don't want you going any lower. But that's where I had already gone off myself. But yeah, but I mean, not everyone's doing full blown carnivore, high fat carnivore like I was doing, and was very disciplined.
There you go. I put in the chat actually under Dr. Kiltz's name, but there's a Dr. Joseph. You can find him on YouTube, but he's a board certified psychiatrist, and he specifically works on tapering people off of their psychiatric medications with the least amount of side effects. So if anyone's interested, I would go check that out.
Yeah. So it can be done, and it should be done with your physician. And yes, I would like to get everybody off of any medications they don't need, but we have to be careful with the way you withdraw from them, and some will have more side effects than others as you withdraw.
Right. Yeah. This is a question from CB. Who's this Robert Kiltz guy? He's our fearless leader. Papa from Cordelia, how do you do with heavy whipping cream?
I actually put, like I said, I put a little bit of that in my morning coffee with butter and some, I've been adding bacon grease. I used to do MCT oil with the butter in my coffee, and I replace the MCT oil with a little bit of, I have some, bacon grease in a little jar, kind of like Mitch, Old Guy Carnivore. He has one of those little pots that he pours the extra bacon grease from when he cooks bacon. And I have a big, like one of those metal, it's like a little tin in my refrigerator. So I just scoop a little of that out and put that in there. But yeah, I think it's maybe 1 tablespoon or 2 tablespoons, very little in my, that's it. Just a little bit, just for flavor in the coffee. That's it. I do fine with that.
Great. Let's see here. One more. I'm going to do another public service announcement. I've got 2 public service announcements. One, the hashtag for today is #kilts for a chance to win kilts as keto as carnivore. And my next public service announcement is that Dr. Nelson is doing one-on-one coaching, and everybody that's doing the one-on-one coaching is loving it. So if you would like to do some one-on-one coaching, you can sign up, and I will put the link into the chat, and it is also in the show notes.
Wow. You guys need to take advantage of that.
Absolutely. Eve says, I feel as if coffee is being normalized. I miss it so much. Should I have some? I love that question.
I only have 1 cup a day. I used to drink a whole pot of coffee, Dr. Nelson. I was full-blown addicted to coffee. And I used to use that creamer, like the Coffee Mate creamer. I mean, if you look at the ingredients in those like Coffee Mate creamers, the liquid, creamer,
it's terrible.
It is literally seed oil. It is seed oil and sugar. Those are the 2 top ingredients in that stuff. Yeah. And people are pouring that stuff in. You see them. It is just horrific. Don't use it.
Don't use it. I used to put that stuff like the soy milk, vanilla creamer in my coffee, and it would taste delicious. And then within minutes, I would have like this stomach pain. And I'd be like, I can't drink that stuff anymore. And I would do it every day to myself. There you go. It's terrible.
Yeah. I would get a lot of knee pain from the seed oils.
Some people are very resistant to stop their coffee. Yeah, they like it. If you don't think it's causing you any problems, but if you want to test that theory, go off the coffee, give it 30 days and see if you notice any symptoms that all of a sudden went away. Or when you restart it, if you restart 30 days later, you might find out that maybe it was giving you some mild symptoms.
Yeah. I've been on and off and on and off and on and off coffee, and I definitely know being off is better than being on. Yesterday, I had 1.5 cups of coffee in the morning, and mid-morning, my heart was racing and I had an eye twitch. I'm like,
and you know what's funny? Dave Mack, I remember watching recently Dave Mack saying that he actually went off the coffee, but he got very tired. And, he went back on the coffee. He said he feels better just with a small amount of coffee. So he's back on coffee, like I think 1 cup of coffee a day, like me.
Yeah. I've tried to convince myself to get off of it again.
Oh,
and then
really?
my friend Deb, she's going to listen later and she's going to be like, me too.
And Coach Lisa's always saying, whenever I say something about coffee, she's like, Papa, you got to get off the coffee.
Yeah, exactly. We really do. Yeah. But I agree.
Now, Alia at least gets real.
I get real
Colombian coffee.
I do.
I know.
Now,
I love Colombian coffee. Is my favorite.
Yeah, but what you get isn't Colombian coffee. If you remind me, I'll bring you some. But we buy for $1 a pound of coffee from our neighbor who gets it from her parents' farm that farms coffee. Like, that's how direct my coffee is.
Wow.
And it's a lot better. I'm more addicted to coffee in the States than I am here. So I don't know what that means. I mean, maybe that's not really true. I used to drink a pot of coffee, but there you go. Colombian coffee. I'm just saying whatever you guys got over there isn't the same as here.
We won't spill the secrets.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Alia's coffee is a giveaway. Oh my god, that's hilarious. That would be very funny. Well,
Hashtag
maybe-
coffee. We'll do that for Lisa Weedman on Friday. No.
I know. Let's see where I'll have to bring some, and then I'll bring some, and we'll do a giveaway next time when we're in Gatlinburg. Okay, here we go. Let's see. What is the next question? Here, let's answer. Oh my god, we're at an hour already? How did that happen?
Yeah.
Papa.
You know,
What
when
do
you
you
have
think?
Papa Carnivore on, we could talk for hours. Me and Dr. Nelson, you get the two of us together, right?
Oh my gosh. Yes, sardines are good for fat. That's the answer to that question.
All right. Let's do the giveaway.
Let's do the giveaway. Share screen.
And we're giving away the Keto is
Kilt's
Carnivore book.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see.
Kilt's Keto is Carnivore.
Kilt's Keto is Carnivore. Okay, here we go. Are we on the screen? Yep. Here we go. Drum roll, please. Lioness Lou, congratulations. Please email me, alia@drkiltz.com. And I need your real name, your address, and your phone number, and I will get that shipped to you today. Congrats.
I noticed you scheduled some Zooms for next month. Is
Zooms?
the link for the course live already?
No, it's not. There's some technical issues, so we're not doing that. Yeah, not yet. But more to come on the live 30-day to carnivore course. More to come with Dr. Nelson.
And so email alia@drkiltz.com.
Yeah, there you go. Ta-da! Congratulations. Over to you, Dr. Nelson.
So thank you for being here this morning, Peter. I know you're here every morning in the chat. Have a great day, everyone.
Yeah. Goodbye. See you tomorrow. I won't see you tomorrow. I'm on vacation.
See you on Wednesday. I'll be on the panel with Nia and a bunch of other people.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be awesome. And I'll see you all on the 7th. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Have a good day.